Alrighty folks, collection update time. I am woefully behind on these. So, I got about a dozen of them here. Hopefully I can knock this out without dragging it out too long. If you can tell by the title, if I remember to make the title. This is 80s, hard rock, heavy metal, whatever you want to call it. Not all of these albums came out in the 80s, but all of these bands are most closely related to the 80s. And first, we're going to start off with Baron Rojo. Now, I'm saying Baron Rojo, but I've heard other people, Europeans, say Baron Rojo. And I'm pretty sure on this album that they even say Baron Rojo. Now, I don't know if that's a Spanish, true Spanish pronunciation or not. Because this is a pretty thick book, I won't go through everything. But anyway, I heard about Baron Rojo coming out back in '83 with the album Metamorphosis. I wanted to get it, heard good buzz about it. I don't remember what magazine it would have been. It wasn't Kerrang, because we didn't have access to Kerrang back then. Not readily, anyway. There's Metamorphosis right there. But, you know, it was '83. The import, so it was more expensive than the other stuff. And, of course, metal was blowing up in '83 and '84, so they just kind of fell by the wayside. Always a band I wanted to get back around to, and actually what spurred me on to finally buy this album is Ginger Wildheart was on one of his podcasts and was talking about one of the best bands that he'd ever seen live, and he said Baron Rojo. So I was like, well, I want to get that one. And this is their second album. Metamorphosis was their third one. Drawing a blank on what their first one's called, but this one, Volumen Brutal. Really good stuff. And then we have Bathory, Twilight of the Gods. I'm still more of a Hammerheart guy, but this is still another really good album. The prologue, Twilight of the Gods, epilogue is stellar. Looks like there's mainly lyrics in here. A little bit there. So yeah, a really good album, as I'm sure most people know. Then we have BulletBoys, Freakshow. I think I came across this one in a flat rate shipping type of deal. I showed this one not too long ago, I think, in like a music mailroom. I love the debut album. I remember this one coming out. I remember a friend having it, letting me borrow it. I remember thinking it was okay. I had still planned on getting it, but I never got around to doing it. And then Zaza came out, and I'm like, well, I'm already an album behind, so I guess I'm not that worried about getting it. So yeah, I mean, it's a good album. Holds up really well. A lot more, you can definitely hear a lot more Van Halen influence in this one. I mean, they were always kind of Van Halen-ish, but there's definitely a lot more Van Halen influence on this one than I think on the debut, which is has more of the 80s LA influence on it. And we got Europe, debut. Had this on vinyl, so I figured I should get it on CD so I can sell my vinyl, because I may have already sold it, honestly. Yeah, this is the first Europe album I bought. I only own this one and the second one. I know a lot of people like the second one better. I don't particularly. I mean, I think they're both okay. I don't think neither one of them blow me away. But this is definitely heavier and more rocking than the Final Countdown. I've heard their later stuff has gotten more back into this sound, but I haven't heard any of it, so I could not tell you. Then we have Frehley's Comet Live +1. After Ace's passing, I realized that I had some holes in my Ace discography. One of them was Second Sighting. I couldn't find Second Sighting for less than like $30, and I had Live +1, and then this thing was like less than $20. So I'm like, well, I'll just buy this one and sell my Live +1 copy. My Live +1 copy sold before this one even showed up in the mail. Then we got Heavy Load Metal Conquest. Classic Scandinavian metal. This is the EP, but since it's a CD reissue, it's got bonus tracks on it. Killer album. Another thick booklet in here. Be nice if I ever remembered to say what bands are. This is on No Remorse. They just do a good job with these reissues. There goes my hype sticker. Good shots in there. Lots of information. One day I'll get around to reading all that. Cool live shots in there though. I'm trying not to drag this out, but it's not working very well, is it? Too many cool live pics in here. Alright, let me do this last one, then I'll move on. And let me grab my hype sticker down here before I forget about it. Alright. And next up we have Helstar, the King of Hell. Another recent addition. I was always kind of under the impression that all I needed was the first 4 albums from Helstar. And then they did a ranking of Helstar on SOT. And I think Pete Pardo had this album as his #1 for Helstar's discography. And Rich Catino had it at #5. So I was like, well, was that good? I need to check it out. Now, let me tell you, this thing, they definitely, now this is their 6th album. Their 5th album, I'm drawing a blank on the name of it, but it's universally panned as being their worst album, mainly due to horrible production. This thing is really heavy. I mean, it's borderline. I mean, compared to their first 4 albums, I mean, it's speed metal. It's power metal, but there's a lot of speed metal in it, and there's a lot of thrash in it too. And you know, when I was listening to this thing, what I couldn't help but thinking about was Metal Church's last album, Congregation of Annihilation. And I'm drawing a blank on the singer's name that was on that Metal Church. Was it Mark Lopez, who's no longer in the band? He had to be listening to this album when he was thinking, when he was recording that that album because it sounds so similar to this. Vocal delivery and sonically, everything. Like every time I was listening to this, I couldn't stop thinking about that Metal Church album. And then I should just show this one too. This Iron Maiden, made in Japan, unofficial Brazilian release with 17 tracks on it. Sounds killer. Doesn't sound like a demo or a bootleg or anything like that. And it says it was all recorded in the same night. So, very happy to get this one. So I've been looking for it for a while at a halfway decent price. Another one, I mentioned Baron Rojo maybe being too cheap to splurge for the extra money for the import. Back in '83, I may have bought Lizzy Borden's Love You to Pieces instead. I love that album. Then they came out with this album. And I wanted to get it, but I mean, it's the live album, and they only had an EP and Love You to Pieces. I'm busy. Love You to Pieces and the EP, Give 'Em the Axe. So every track that is on those two is listed here, and then they do have two new tracks on here. But you know, it was a double album, so I couldn't bring myself to spend whatever it was, $12.99 for the double album, where you know most of the tracks were already on Love You to Pieces. I mean, I did plan on getting it, but you know, again, the album just fell by the wayside, and Lizzy Borden fell by the wayside. Just never got back around to it until recently, the last few years, where I've been trying to fill holes in my U.S. power metal collection, stuff that slipped by or never got around to. You know, not like you could buy even an album a month back then. You know, you were lucky to get an album every 3 months. Another band from around that time, Raging Slab. I first heard about these guys on KZEW, not KZEW, it was K-Rock. Not K-Rock, Z-Rock. I'll get it right eventually. And I liked what I heard, and I went to buy it, and I saw the album cover, and it kind of gave me pause. And then, because these are things that were important, you know, you couldn't just be throwing away money. You couldn't. I mean, you had. Like I said, you were lucky if you could get 4 albums a year. And then I saw the video, and I still can't remember what the song was. I even listened to this album, I couldn't tell you which one it was. It's been that long ago, but I mean, it was the late 80s. But what prompted me to get this one is not too long ago, I picked up their second album, which was really good. I really liked that one. So I was like, well, I was going to plan on getting this one a long time ago. I need to go get this one too. It's not as good as the second one, in my opinion. And I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. It's a fairly long title. And filling in holes, Riot. I think I have all of Riot's official releases now, except for Sons of Society. Now Mike DeMeo is still my least favorite Riot singer, but this is a really good live album. They put a lot of effort into it, really well produced. You could tell that they knew that they were going to record this thing for a live album, so they had all the bells and whistles ready to go. 2-disc set. There's 20 tracks on the first one. Oh, I'm sorry, the second one's a DVD. I was fixing to say, I don't remember. Yeah, 20 tracks on the CD, and then there's another 11 on the DVD. Looks like. Should have turned on the overhead light. That's Riot Shine On. And then last but not least, we have Slayer Divine Intervention. I think what prompted me to look into this was, I think it was Tainted Lores, 87. Classic shot. He showed Divine Intervention, and I was like, you know what? I have an original pressing of that sitting on my shelf, and it's been about 30 years since that album came out, so I should go look and see what it's going for these days. And it was going for ridiculous money. And because I had the, like I said, I had the original U.S. pressing, and it was only released on red vinyl. So I put it up for sale. I always put mine a little bit cheaper than whatever the other one, as far as, you know, quality goes. I think I listed it as very good plus, even though it's probably near mint, really. And I think sold in like a week. So, of course, I had to replace it. And this album's much better than I remember. I was probably down on it a little bit because, you know, Seasons of the Abyss is my favorite Slayer album. And South Heaven's probably my second favorite Slayer album. So I was a little down on this one, but this is really good. Revisiting it after all these years. Really good album. Alrighty, folks. Coming in under 20 minutes. I tried. You guys have a good one.